Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Let's start with a wild idea. What if one of the world's most sacred texts wasn't just written, but engineered? Today, we're diving into a theory that claims the Quran has a hidden mathematical signature, a complex code woven right into its very fabric.
And this really gets to the heart of what we're talking about. Is it even possible that a scripture from 1400 years ago holds a mathematical structure so complex that we're only now, with all our modern data analysis tools, able to even see the first glimpses of it? You see, for centuries, the Quran has been revered as a divine text. That's a given. But this modern theory says that beyond the spiritual message, there's an intricate architecture underneath. A whole web of numerical patterns that are supposedly so consistent they defy any human explanation. Okay, so how on earth do they even begin to make a case like that? To really get a handle on the evidence they point to, we first have to understand the analytical tool they use. It's a framework called the Tiri Karanka al-Quran, or TKK for short. So what is this TQK thing exactly? Well, think of it like a special lens. It's a methodology that's designed to look past the surface meaning of the Quran and analyze its underlying architecture. It's built to hunt for numerical, linguistic, and structural patterns, patterns that its supporters say are evidence of a miraculous divine design. And the way this method works is pretty systematic. It examines the text in three distinct layers. First, they go super granular at the micro level, counting individual letters and words. Then they zoom out a bit to the meso level, where they analyze whole chapters. And finally, they pull all the way back to the macro level to look at the design of the entire text and what it all might mean. All right, so we've got the framework down. Now for the juicy part, the evidence. Let's look at some of the specific numerical examples that proponents of this TKK theory point to as proof of this grand design. It all kicks off with this one number, 23. According to the theory, this isn't just random. They claim it's a key, a signature, that's encoded right into the very first divine message that was ever revealed.
And this is that message. The very first verse from the first chapter revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. The command is simple, right? Read. But according to this theory, the real secret isn't just in the words. It's hidden in the structure of the verse itself.
So check this out. The TQK analysis breaks it down like this. This verse has 18 letters and 5 words. Add them up. 18 plus 5 is 23. Now, what's the significance of 23? Well, the Quran was revealed over a period of, you guessed it, exactly 23 years. So proponents ask, is that just a wild coincidence or a deliberate signature? And the patterns reportedly get even more intricate. Take this example from the 19th chapter. The phrase, my wife, appears as the 67th word. Okay. But then, using the abjad system, which is an ancient method where every Arabic letter has a numerical value, the letters in that very same phrase also add up to exactly 67. The word's position and its numerical value match perfectly. What are the odds? The analysis doesn't stop at words either. It even extends to the physical layout of certain modern printed versions. For example, in one widely used edition, the very significant chapter Yasin starts on page 441. And what's special about 441? It's a perfect square, 21 times 21. Another chapter, Al-Hijr, starts on page 262, which just happens to be the product of two prime numbers. TK suggests these aren't random at all, but deliberate mathematical markers. So the core argument really boils down to this. When you start layering all of these examples on top of each other, from letter counts to word positions to page numbers, a really complex pattern starts to emerge. And proponents claim this pattern is way too intricate and consistent to be man-made, especially in a text that was revealed orally over 2 decades. They argue it has to have a divine origin. And this brings us all the way back up to that macro level we talked about. Because for the people behind TKQ, these patterns aren't just interesting historical tidbits. They believe this whole intricate design is actually a functional blueprint, and it forms the basis for a really grand forward-looking vision. And here it is, the TQK Neuroband Vision. It's this ambitious 20-year roadmap to apply these structural insights to our world today. The plan is to start by integrating Quranic knowledge with neuroscience by 2025, and then build towards this huge 19-point vision for global impact by 2045. It's a direct attempt to build a bridge between the book's ancient structure and modern science. And the goals here are, well, they're really ambitious. We're talking about reaching 19 million users, using EEG tech to actually measure concentration in prayer, completing thousands of real-world projects, and even storing the Quran's unique digital fingerprint on the International Space Station. This whole project is clearly aimed at what they call the digital generation. So after we've looked at the framework, the numerical examples, and this pretty futuristic vision, we come right back to the central question. What are we supposed to make of all this? I think this quote really captures the mission of the whole TKQ project. It's to offer what they call rational evidence for divine truth, but to do it in a language that speaks to a modern, data-driven world. It's a clear attempt to bridge that gap between faith and empirical thinking.
Which leaves us with a final and, I think, a really crucial question. In our age of big data, where we can find patterns in pretty much anything if we look hard enough, where do we draw the line between a meaningful pattern, a remarkable coincidence, and verifiable proof? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.